What have I learned about the music industry? And how has my outlook changed since I started playing in bands? And what are some things that I would do differently, supposing I could go back in time and do it all over again? Well, I got into metal when I was about 15 or so. My friend Mark brought over a little DVD called Rockin' Rio by Iron Maiden. And seeing how theatrical, majestic, and energetic the band and their fans were, I was immediately hooked. And it wasn't long before I got into bands like Gamma Ray, Helloween, Tear, Ozzy Osbourne, and Metallica. I was such a super fan of Iron Maiden that at one point I had over 30 Iron Maiden shirts. In fact, once as a challenge, I wore nothing but Iron Maiden shirts for the entire month. I had always played guitar, but after getting into Iron Maiden, I knew that I wanted to sing and be a frontman. So my friend Tyler Gibson, who plays in Esther Lane, and I joined a band called Rackenheid, which was formed by Austin Bentley, who now is in Fervence, Machines of Man, and kind of Dysphoria. We played cover songs like 2 Minutes to Midnight, Enter Sandman, and the Power Rangers theme song. But after 2 shows, the band split up as a result of testosterone-soaked drama, and so Tyler and I formed Prophecy, which would eventually become Shadowseer, and Austin and the rest of Rackenheid formed a band called Apparition. Shadowseer and Apparition had a rivalry for a while, and during this time, I joined a second band called Dysphoria. I made a very foolish mistake of not telling Shadowseer, so when they eventually did find out, they were understandably very pissed off, and it wasn't long before I was kicked out of the band. Now, while all of this was going on, Apparition died out, and Austin joined Dysphoria as the keyboardist, and him and I made amends, and so we had both come full circle and ended up in a band together once again. Dysphoria is where we really started taking things seriously though, but we were in our early 20s and knew nothing. To our credit though, we actually did a pretty decent job of setting up our own weekend warrior runs and tours, but if I had any advice to give young musicians or bands, it would be to treat this like you're starting a business. Study music on your own, and then get a degree in marketing or business. When we were younger and more naive, we had the idea that if we were skilled enough and wrote enough really awesome songs, that we would eventually get noticed by Senpai and swept off by a management company, record label, or an investor, and we would be taken care of. We would focus on music, they would focus on business, and that, of course, never happened. If I could go back in time and do things differently, I would have focused so much more on the business aspect of the band. The music aspect really does need to be rock solid, but if you don't take care of it and treat it like a business, you're not going to have any gas in the tank. The other thing I would like to say to our younger selves, or any people of you who are your younger selves now, is opening up for bigger bands is awesome, but it will not get you famous. Dysphoria opened for Devil Driver, Sabaton, Helloween, Blackguard, Exodus, and a whole bunch of others. These bands are not going to watch your set. Andy Dury is not going to pull you aside and talk to you guys about taking you under Helloween's wing. I know this thing happens sometimes. I'm just saying, don't count on it. What all of this comes down to, I think, is that you have to become successful yourselves. You can't rely on another bigger band to make you famous, and you can't even rely on your own skills to get you famous. Plenty of bands have mediocre or slightly above average skills, yet they sell out stadiums. It's your work ethic, tenacity, and creativity combined that are going to get you success, in my opinion. I have to give full disclosure here though, that while I am in a band that's signed to a major record label, it's not like we're selling out stadiums and doing world tours either. We're still relatively young and small in the game. But I do want to say that Tony Cordisco, Judicator's co-founder, was instrumental in getting Judicator to where we are today. His focus on making Judicator a viable, sustainable business entity rubbed off on me and the rest of the band, and that's where our heads are at now. In addition, of course, to writing the most kick-ass, inspired, awesome metal that we can. In fact, all of this was a big contributor to Prosthetic even noticing us. They noticed that whatever we were doing, it was effective. We were doing the same things that their own successful bands were doing, and so it seemed like a natural fit to them to welcome us into the family. So I'm going to correct what I said before to something more like, take care of yourselves first, be savvy, and don't count on anyone helping you. And if you do this long enough, somebody will eventually take notice. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, then be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and click the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload new content. It really does help, and I really do appreciate it. Stay savvy, and I'll catch you in the next video.